Okay. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and get started. Apologies for the slight delay, but welcome everybody to Wednesday, March 3rd, and welcome to the Morning Brew. I'm Jared, moderator with Bear Bull Traders, and we'll go ahead and kick this off and get right into it. So we'll start off with our SPY view, like we normally like to look at the beginning. Daily chart, I've left on the 20, 50, and 200 simple moving average. I've also left on the channel structure that we've been mapping out. They're all still relevant indicators for us at this time. Daily chart overall looking fairly healthy in terms of pullback structure. So the stock market and the SPY in general likes to oscillate through this channel. We go up, we hit resistance, we pull down, we tend to find support anywhere in the 20 or the 50, we pull up. Once again, finding resistance, we pull down, finding support. You can tell that the range over the past couple days has been fairly volatile, and overall, just a lot of uncertainty in these price levels due to multiple days up, multiple days down, giving and taking back a lot of the price that we were trying to claim. Shifting to the 4-hour chart and leaving on the moving averages for now, you can see that this channel is still being well respected. We had a very significant low placed at the bottom of this channel, somewhere around the 380 price point on the SPY. And more notably, we're having some trouble getting through this downtrend line. Structurally, what we're trying to do from the market's perspective is build some energy and pressure in this zone. As you can see, we're sort of turning a previous resistance or a previous candle high into an area of support, building what most people would look at as sort of a cup and handle structure, and then using that energy to potentially break higher. So we want to see, one, if this is possible, if the market participants can do this, and two, if they do this, what would be some potential targets. And if we do that, that cup and handle structure, you tend to want to take extensions of your range and look to have higher targets. So you'd look at this range, you estimate roughly the distance between this range, and then you double it. And that would be an initial first target, bringing us pretty much back to all-time highs, which makes sense. So SPY showing some potential. You can see that the 20, 50, and 200 are below us on the 4-hour chart, and therefore, you know, we're kind of thinking short-term bullish if we can especially clear this downtrend channel, this rough downtrend resistance that we have. For intraday purposes, bringing in our volume profile, which we like to use just to see where the market is placing value over time and over price. Specifically over price with regards to the vertical axis of the volume profile. So you can see 392 to 384 is our value area highs and lows. 389, I would say 390. It's been pretty much our main price point that we've been watching, is still considered VPOC over the past 10 days. So hard to read markets when we're at VPOC. We can tend to go pretty much in either direction. It's more of a gravity point than anything that you want to classify as support and resistance. The market is drawn to value, and then a move away from value can lead to trending sort of days or multiple momentum moves in one direction. Because we are at VPOC, and because yesterday we stayed in a fairly tight range between about 387 to to 390, no surprise there, we built even more value in this zone. And therefore, depending on which way we break at some point, whether we clear yesterday's low or yesterday's high and start to break out of that trend line, we may see, for example, shorts start to cover, thinking that the market's going to go lower in this zone and being wrong. If we break lower, obviously longs will stop out, and there may be more market participation with a little bit of clarity and with a little bit of a technical breakout structure that we can leverage into our trading. So going back to our daily, shifting to the NASDAQ, here the picture is not so, I would say, stable. So loading up just our 20, 50, 200, you can see that the Qs in regards to the NASDAQ 100 ETF have lost the 20. We are sitting well below the 20, and we are attempting to hold the 50 along with a major trend line. So multiple tests, both at the COVID lows and at the, I would say, pre-election lows during this consolidation period. We are struggling to hold this area, and it is a notable mention that we are seeing some relative weakness in larger tech and related tech assets. So looking at our 4-hour, while we are attempting to hold, the 4-hour 200 moving average has been acting as resistance. So you can see that we bounced off of our channel, found quick resistance at the 200, fell very sharply, almost losing our daily trend. They recovered it once again finding resistance, pulling much lower into the 310 area and actually losing the previous low. And then finally a third retest up in this area. I would say at this point channel and 200 acting as a resistance point. So definitely want to keep note of this zone right here. This is, we'll just call it 325 for now. This area has been very challenging for the NASDAQ to clear. And more importantly, I would say that we're not really building a lot of bullish structure yet, as we are trying to still hold the 20 and the 50, with the 50 starting to act as resistance as well. If things like this can continue, and if the Qs cannot start to curl back up for a fourth test of 325, any market weakness can lead to potentially further downside in these types of stocks, with more notable value areas being rejected and with a lack of follow through at resistance. So shifting into our short time frame and then adding in our value volume profile. Once again, we mentioned this yesterday, more and more value, more and more time, and more market participation is occurring at lower prices in the NASDAQ. 317 is our short-term VPOC, with 324 and 313 as the range where roughly 68% of the price action has occurred over the past 10 days. So once again, we're sitting at it, but if you notice yesterday's price action, significant weakness in the Qs relative to the SPY, which were more or less range bound. Until the end of the day, we did see some additional selling in the SPY. But instead of being range bound, instead of trying to build pressure, we showed relative weakness. We want to continue carrying this forward until we see a reason to think otherwise. And at the moment, sitting at VPOC, once again, we may still consolidate over the next couple days, or if the SPY shows some amount of strength, this may affect other ETFs like the Qs, as the holdings are fairly similar, especially with larger tech names. And then finally, our IWM. I'm going to shift back into our 20/50/200. We're seeing some support placed. It's a rough channel that I've drawn with 2 touch points on the daily. Price is sitting closer to the 20 on the daily, so we are seeing, I would say, relative strength in IWM, which is going to be your Russell 2000 ETF. And we're kind of moving away from this bounce point, which once again, that bounce point showing itself to actually have some follow through is an indication that it was a fairly significant bottom for the time being. Overall structure is roughly the same. We have a lot of range candles in here, and we're still having some trouble clearing some short-term resistance. But overall on the daily, given that this was our strongest ETF for a long period of time, we're seeing some of that continue during this uncertain time that we have in the market. Shifting to our 4-hour, you can see that once again, this trend line channel, or I would just call it a trend line. It's not really a full channel given it's not fully parallel to the top channel. But this support area did hold well. We're seeing the 200 on the 4-hour sit below us. And once again, just like the SPY, we're trying to build some energy to potentially break out. So 20 and 50 holding here. If the bulls can show that, this was a significant low, and then they're starting to build this cup formation into a handle and potentially a breakout. We will carry that forward until otherwise something changes and we have some notable lows that were set yesterday, and we can carry those forward. Looking at our volume profile, similar story. We're sitting right at VPOC over the past 10 days. So, the price is being accepted more and more down at these levels. We're mostly just trying to see what direction they want to choose, as we've had some fairly volatile couple of days in the past week. The range in these ETFs is large relative to their price, and therefore, the uncertainty and building some energy and some maybe potential momentum would be a good catalyst for us as day traders to leverage. Notable here as well, yesterday there was some weakness in IWM, similar to the Qs. I'm looking more high level to indicate a sense of relative strength. And I think overall, just carrying forward that this is the stronger of the ETFs if we get the bullish move. That's been the case for the past couple of months, so we don't want to fight that assumption until proven otherwise. But if we break bearish, I think this one also could provide the least follow through if we're starting to build this value here. The Qs are showing that actual weakness. They may continue to be the laggard in our sectors, or I guess in our markets. So that took a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and shift into the main topic that I want to start leveraging and layering into our discussions. We're, of course, building this up over time. I'm going to shift back over to the SPY. I'm going to go to something called the Analyze tab, Fundamentals menu on the Analyze tab. So, for those who are relatively new or have never really learned about sectors within the S&P 500, this is a good way to sort of introduce why and what those sectors are, why they're important, why they dictate strength and weakness, and their relative strength and weakness affecting the market. So what I have here is just a visual that shows a breakdown of the 11 sectors that comprise the S&P 500 index. There is some percentages listed here. It's a little hard to see. I'm gonna work on those color schemes after this. But first and foremost, we have things like information technology. Most people just call it tech. It is broken up into various subsectors in different industries, but overall, when we say things like tech is weak, tech is strong, tech is leading the market, knowing that the SPY has a large percentage of its holdings bundled into this sector is important for us to know. Because if we see weakness or strength in the tech sector, it can have one of the largest effects on the S&P 500. And this is why we're looking at the Qs. It is a more tech-heavy focused ETF. It's why we care about stocks like Microsoft, like Apple, like Visa, and other semiconductors, NVIDIA, PayPal, MasterCard. These stocks hold weight relative to whether they are strong and weak, and they can dictate market direction by themselves at times. You know, they have that much weight at this moment. Followed below information technology at half of its relative weighting is healthcare. You have stocks like J&J, United Healthcare, Abbott Laboratories, AbbVie, etc. Consumer discretionary, this is where you'll find stocks like Amazon. Some people think Amazon is a tech holding, and it does have tech implications within its company, but with regards to the S&P, it sits within the consumer discretionary bin. Relatively large holding, you have Tesla, HD, Nike, McDonald's, Starbucks. Financials, another fairly large sector. This is led by Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citi. Down the list you go. And then communication services. Once again, some people think Facebook, Google sit within the tech sector. Technically, they don't within the S&P. Facebook and Google are technically called communications, so communicative services. And Disney, Comcast, and Netflix. So yeah, I'll get to y'all's questions in the chat in just a moment. Let me go ahead and wrap this section up. It's important to note as well, Google, although it's showing about 1.9, it is broken up into two different tickers, and therefore you want to combine them when you're thinking about Google as a company. There is a Class A and a Class C stock. And then obviously down the list, lower than 10% industrial staples, energy, materials, utilities, and real estate comprise the rest of the sectors. So why is this important? Why do we need to know this information, especially when looking at the SPY and the market sentiment overall? The thing that I like to use is that markets are built on breadth across these sectors. A very healthy market will have some sectors being strong, some sectors being weak, but an overall structure and direction as those laggard sectors maybe are not as heavily weighted, and as those larger sectors tend to be higher weighted or just have more strength to compensate for the weakness. So when you have a lot of market breadth, you can have a very strong market. If you have all sectors firing on all cylinders, kind of like what we saw on Monday, it can be very challenging to fight the market. It is not worth trying to find, for example, a short in that market, because you're basically fighting everyone at the same time. All stocks kind of rise with the same tide, and therefore it is better to just join the trend as opposed to fighting it. When you have some sectors up, some sectors down. It can lead to more consolidation, more range-bound trading. Sometimes you can even have one very weak sector and a bunch of strong, and that one weak sector will be, balanced by the other strong ones. Once again, leading to sort of a flat or a range-bound market. And then obviously the opposite, which we saw on Thursday last week, where pretty much every single sector is selling. You do not want to fight that. You're not looking for a bounce. You are just riding the trend to the downside. And as intraday traders, what I think is the most beneficial is that sometimes sectors, industries, you can have little subsectors, something like software, something like semiconductors. That little section will be really, really strong or really, really weak comparatively to its major sector or just comparatively to the market. And you can dig into those with the rest of the market potentially aligning to your thesis and find some really great candidates. One thing that I think I do in the chat room relatively well is I provide sort of a higher level set of candidates to choose to trade. And this is just looking at a sector and saying, the market looks relatively strong. This sector looks even better. This sector has relative strength. So if you really want to find a trend, look to this sector, find a good candidate, and then find an entry point, find a good day trade. And you can get some really good, you can get some good moves from that. What we're going to start doing in this morning brew is looking across different ETFs that represent each of these sectors. And that way, from a charting perspective, we can look and see, okay, over the past couple of weeks, this sector has been leading the market, and that this sector has been pulling back. This sector has been lagging the market. Everything is shifting around us. Obviously, things get strong and weak over time. Things change over time. We can start to see trends and where the money is flowing. Try to find ways to join, the trend overall and get on board of a strong sector, or once again, take profits if that sector is starting to show more of a, lagging sort of structure. So this is something that our resident swing trader, Brian Pezim, does very well, both in his newsletters and also just his swing trading review. He's looking to see, is the market weak and who's causing it? Which sectors are causing it? Afterwards, which of those sectors stands out to you? Which one is just obviously saying, I'm the worst one or I'm the best one, and will that continue? Is it a good swing/day trade setup to where, the market's strong, this sector pulled back very little, it's getting stronger, so now I want to join the trend and catch, the next pullback into an all-time high kind of setup. So that's the idea behind this. It's important to know if you're using the SPY in any sense, I recommend looking at this sector breakdown, knowing who's who and relative weightings on the SPY, and then just kind of understanding that, if tech is weak, it can bring down the market if there's not a lot of, overall strength in any other sector, because it has 1/4 of the weighting. It can push the market down. Conversely, healthcare, consumer discretionary, if they're both strong, they can hold up in lieu of tech being strong. So if you know that just in the back of your head, you can have some ideas as to whether you expect the market to do what you think it's going to do, or are you fighting something that just has too much weight. And hopefully that'll keep you in the right side of the trend, or potentially look for some very good counter trend setups whenever things start to shift. So with that said, that's my time. Sorry for starting a little bit late. We had a couple of technical changes to make, But please stick around. We're shifting into Carlos and Norm with our normal pre-market show. We're going to look at levels, candidates, the market in general. And hopefully y'all enjoyed this. We will continue to expand. And I'll, of course, answer any questions in the chat rooms as necessary. So thank y'all, and have a great Wednesday. Have a great rest of your trading session. Talk to y'all tomorrow.
Can you guys hear me okay? I want to make sure the mic is coming across fine. Good morning, Norm. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. Yeah, can you hear you?
Okay.
Can
Yeah.
hear you loud and clear?
Perfect, perfect. Don't worry, guys. We will get faster at that transition. Better than yesterday. That's all we can do. It's just better than yesterday every day, and that's
Just a quick
that's good
commercial
enough.
break, buddy. We need to sell that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. All right, guys. So, welcome. Let's take a look at what we had here. What an amazing day yesterday. Again, this market has been just incredible. So let's start with our watch list. Let's start with this real nice one here. Zoom, guys. What an amazing drop yesterday. It traded so clean, so well. Here's our 5 minute on Zoom. Again, and this thing, did it gap up? I thought it gapped up. I'm looking at the weekly. Hold on. Yeah, it was a gap up. Yeah, it was a huge gap
Yeah, it
up,
was, yeah,
but
and it sold off.
wow, it was amazing. So hopefully you took advantage of this. I did not personally trade this one, but let's take a look at the 5 minute here. Again, beautiful gap up into the pre-market, and then it just gave it all back, just losing every level possible that we had here, and just holding on to that 9 moving average and never really looking back at that. So again, amazing trade there on Zoom. And aside from the drop being so clean, it traded very nice. Right, it was very nice there. It was easy to take opportunities on this one, so hopefully you took advantage. I know a couple of you guys were watching this one as well. Here's RKT. We cannot skip this one. This is just insane. First, I want a quick look at the daily, right, just to show you what we're at here. This thing gapped up nice. It was a big gap already. We know they had some positive news here. I believe the positive news was about 3 days ago, and that day didn't do so well. It was a drop and it wasn't clean. But yesterday, man, it kicked into high gear. You can see this on here, and if you look at the 5 minute, you can see how this traded. Again, it was very fun watching this in the chat room and also in our Discord chat as well. And just look around 12:45. I don't know what broke loose here, and this thing just took off. Halted a few times towards the downside here, and I believe here as well. But again, even that didn't change much the direction of this thing. It ended up really strong into the market close. So just insane. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people saying it was a short squeeze and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, you definitely saw that there. That is what a short squeeze can do to you. And if you were watching the success webinar yesterday from Thor, he spoke about this specifically. Where the stops are being hit and how the short squeezes create this type of movement. So if you did miss that, it will be in the recordings later on today, this afternoon. So that's RKT. Here is Neo, guys. Neo is another good one as well. Started off a little bit rough. It did settle down around 11 a.m. and look how nice this thing traded, hitting some of the pre-market lows here once it lost the VWAP, and then also grabbing onto this 9 moving average and just never looking back. Did test the 20 a couple of times here, but a beautiful short. Also has a great daily. This is why we kept Neo on our list. We knew it was going to be in play, and man, what a flush yesterday. That was real nice to see. Here's CAN. Now CAN, yes, you do have one initial drop here, great rejection, and it just slams down. Then after that, this was all you had really. After that, it just did not trade well at all, guys. Very, very choppy in here. Did not look clean. You did try to get pushed above the VWAP, but then again, for the most part, the action was not super clean on CAN there. Here's Fubo. Fubo also, this is the definition of chop. So if you're looking for a definition, this is it right here, guys. Just look how choppy this thing was. You could probably had a couple of scalping opportunities, but that's really about it. There was just no continuation every move that it made. You know, it's just every candle was just overlapping the previous candle. Just did not look well at all in Fubo there. Pre-market though, pre-market was what the action was on Fubo. Many of you traders took trades here in the pre-market, and that did very well. Here's SQ. I didn't really watch SQ, so I don't know how the price action was, you know, between Rocket, Zoom, Neo. I mean, those three right there should have tied up your day, with the way they were trading so clean. So didn't really see the price action on this one. Doesn't look great, but again, I can't say I was watching it closely, so I won't comment on this one for now. But it does give you a little bit of a pop here, nice continuation, and then from there it just seems a little bit choppy in that area. So, all right, with that said, guys, again, an amazing day. We had three really good ones, so the rest not so much, and there were some other ones as well we're not gonna get into, but a pretty good day with the way the markets are moving, creating a lot of volume and volatility for us. And with that said, let's take a look at the SPY. Norm, what do we have going on today?
Yeah, so I mean, we're essentially flat on the SPY, down a little bit more on the Qs, almost 1/4%. As we discussed, we've been up here all-time highs, had this little sell-off for a couple of weeks, bounced hard from it on Monday, harder than, I mean, a few of us mentioned it probably bounced, but it gave more than we expected. We're just kind of sitting here, you know, letting things play out. As things reopen, it was announced yesterday that Texas is fully reopening, no mask mandate and all that, effective next week. So more, and a couple others. So, you know, as we reopen more and more, we'll see if that sparks some movement in the market. All that having been said, definitely finding things in play. We had the ADP employment report come out a few minutes ago. I haven't seen the number on that. And then I apologize. I got busy right before the beginning of the show with something. We've got market services PMI final for February at 9:45, the ISM services index for February at 10. 2 p.m. is the beige book, and then we've got a few Fed speakers scattered throughout the day. So.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. Let's get into it, guys. Let's look at what we have this morning. On our gapping down list, we don't have a whole lot today, so that's good. Gapping up, we do have quite a bit this morning, so we'll get to our top 5 or 6, and then we'll shoot it out to the chat room and see what you guys like this morning. All right, let's jump in here, guys, starting with, well, first, let's clear this out. There we go. Make some rooms here for the rows, and then let's start with gapping up. KMPH this morning. This is a low flow stock, so low flow stock sitting at 11 million shares float right now. Again, their daily looks pretty bad for the most part. They got 8.9 million shares traded right now, up 71%. This started off looking very good here. The candles are very wide, and you can see a nice pattern forming. Not looking so great in the last hour and a half or so. We'll put it on here, see if that gets better and picks up the energy again as far as trading a little bit cleaner there. But definitely in play this morning as a low flow at 11 million shares. Here's TRXC. This one, we've seen this one quite a bit in the past in our scanners. It is not a low flow stock, but it is a lower price, and it can tend to have these pops here. They're up 34% this morning, 7.3 million shares traded. Pre-market looks okay, guys, not bad. The only reason I'm putting it here on my riskier pile is because it is a lower price stock, and we just got to be careful with the number of shares you take on this one. But again, it's not a low flow one, but we'll keep an eye on it. Again, looks good pre-market right now. Let's see if that has any potential for today. OCGN at the moment, nice pop into the pre-market at 6:30. Beautiful takeoff here. We're up 30%. This one, guys, could be exciting. We traded this one before in the past. We had it in our watch list a couple of weeks ago when we had this gap up here. Since then, it has done just one or maybe 2 really good days in here. Today, hopefully, can be another one. Trading very nice this morning. 14 million shares traded. Again, it's a lower price stock around $10. Traded usually around $10 before, even lower than that. But it's not a low flow stock, so we can definitely definitely keep a close eye on this one. SLGG this morning, they are up 27%, 2.9 million shares traded. Pre-market action, it's okay, could be better. It just seems a little choppy here on 512 at the moment. Their daily for the most part is okay, not great. They're sitting at 16 million shares, so on the lower side. We're going to put it down here in our risky pile just to see what comes out of that. UWMC. This one we're up 25%, 5.7 million. This thing has been did trade well yesterday, at least on the daily. Let's see what it has here as far as the actual intraday. So we had a couple of runs here in the intraday here right out of the gates. Later on mid-afternoon you had a midday, you had another run up here as well, and then a huge one here in after hours, and we're up at 24% with the big move again being done after hours last night. So interesting stuff happening. 5.7, this is not a low flow stock. I'm going to put it as a possible for now. Definitely has the volume, definitely moving nicely this morning. And the reason I'm putting it as a possible, it's just the daily, right? And I don't think we ever traded this stock in the past, so I just want to make sure that this is going to be clean moving forward here. So we'll take a second look at it before we put it up on our main list. HTBX, this one down 19%, 470. This doesn't trade very well, guys. We've seen this in our stock before. I'm not going to add it. I don't like the way it trades. It can be very choppy at times, so I'm going to keep it off my list. Sitting at 22 million shares flow, so not really borderline low flow here, but just be careful. Again, this thing can really move. But we've seen this one quite a bit on our list, and I just never like the way this thing really trades. CAN, again, very active the last couple of days, continues right now up 17.2, 1.4 million shares traded. Again, if we look at the action yesterday, it was not clean. You had a nice drop right there out of the gates, and after that it was real choppy. But we know they can put in some really good days because we've seen it done a couple of times on CAN. We saw it here early on in February, and then in middle of February we had a couple of days that were very well, that traded very well. Not just the candle itself, even the intraday was nice. But you have to be careful. This one can be very aggressive. It can move wildly at times. We'll keep a close eye on this one. NCTY, low flow sitting at 5.3. They've been very active, always on our gappers list, either gapping up or down. Today they're gapping up 16%. Now, I just don't like the volume. 163 for a 5.3 million shares flow, and they tend to have this light volume on big gap up and gapping down days. So I'm just a little concerned with that. I'm concerned with the way the price is and the way the spread is on this one because of lack of that volume. So I'm not going to add it to my list, guys. If it gets better, maybe anyone can call it out in the chat and we could take a close look at it. All right, I think we did about 8 or 10 there. So let's go over to what's gapping down. SSYS this morning is down 13%. This looks pretty good. Float on this 52 million. Nice. I like this gap down this morning. I like the float on this one. Did I type that right? SSYS. Let's see what else in the daily. Daily's okay, right? We had a nice run up here in the beginning of the year. We're kind of coming back down towards some ground here where we can hopefully find some support. But I definitely like the pre-market, guys. Very active. Although it's 373, you're seeing some great movement on this one. ATR for this one, because it does move a lot, guys, is $5. So again, 490 is the ATR on this bad boy. So you want to be very careful here. You don't want to make your money on taking a lot of shares. You want to make your money on the actual move, and this thing will move. So be very careful. And spread right now is not looking great. Just taking a closer look at that. You know, it's about 14 cents. That's got to get hopefully better at the market open. So, Norm, is there any news on this thing at the moment, or anything that's?
Hang on a second, because I had this one. I apologize.
Yeah. No worries, man.
Lost my note on it. They had a secondary.
All right, so that also is not the best catalyst, but they're moving well in the pre-market. We'll keep it on here. We'll see how that's going to turn out. And of course, RKT, guys, that is on our list. This thing is just insane. For sure. Let's just hope it doesn't get too choppy and too crazy, right? I mean, we saw some of that action yesterday, but even with that, I saw some really good trades in here, guys. Really nice trades. But again, once it gets halted, it kind of changes some of the technicals that you might be looking for. So just be mindful of that. Today they're down 13.3, 6.8 million shares traded. This pre-market action very active. Was up nicely this morning over at 48. There was talks about this thing hitting 50. Almost did this morning. So nice all-time high there. Again, extremely extended on the daily. Let's see where this is going to go today, but definitely in our list this morning. Yeah, I noticed that no shares for short on this one. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think it's still worth having on here, guys. I mean, this stock, although this is an amazing squeeze here, this thing was doing very well prior to that. So it's a strong stock. Be careful in trying to short this if you do have inventory for short. But yeah, that kind of
it's not an inventory issue. They're not allowing shorts on it.
Oh, IB is not allowing shorts. Okay, gotcha. All right, so one of those things. All right, so again, just be careful with it, guys, but I think it's still worth having on here for today's watch list. MGY, not looking good in the pre-market, guys. 415,000 shares traded. But look how they are trading. They're not trading clean at all, so I don't like what I'm seeing here as far as that action. Heading on down, we have Fubo. Fubo at the moment. What do we have here? Good pre-market action, guys. Very active. I like the ranges. I like the way the candles are forming here. We are down 8.1. And again, we had a nice pop yesterday. Gapped up pretty good in here when we broke out of this area of consolidation. We're having between 39.65 and what seems to be 36, maybe down to 34 here, right? So consolidating here, we're back down in this range. So I like the way that's forming there. Are we going to head back down to the low of this range that we've been stuck in? So let's see. I do like Fubo. I'm going to add that one on here. I think it's moving well this morning, down nicely. NNVC, this one gapped up nice yesterday. So far, this pre-market down 6%, 394,000 shares traded. How did it trade? Yes, that's a big gap up yesterday. I don't recall seeing this one on our list in the pre-market, or maybe we didn't get to it with everything else that looked great yesterday, right? You didn't need to get to this one, and obviously I'm glad you didn't get to this one because just look how choppy and nasty this was. So that wouldn't have been fun. I'm on the fence on this one. Again, I don't like the daily. I think it has a potential to not trade well, even after a big day yesterday. We'll take a second look at it, but it might not stay even as a possible here. Oh, it's a low flow too, 9.5. I just saw that. Yeah, this is not great for a low flow. You need a lot more volume. I'm going to take this one off, guys. That's not good. JCS, this one, the 7 million shares flow, also not looking great. Only 100,000 shares traded, down 6%. Again, not looking good there. VXRT, and we'll do this. This will be the last one. VXRT also not looking good, guys. Down 4.2. But again, the volume is just not looking great. Pre-market action, not exciting. Their daily's okay, but this stock has not been fun to trade anymore. It was. They had a little run up here at the beginning of the end of January. But they don't trade like they used to when we were having all this fun over here. That's not happening no more on VXRT. So I think it's just become very choppy stock to trade. All right, guys. Norm, what do you like this morning on your end?
Rocket. I mean,
yeah.
What else is there right now? Yeah. That's the beast.
Yeah, that is definitely the one that's making things happen, guys. Again, 7.2, trading very clean, this pre-market action. And we'll see. Let's see how the market is going to look, how this one's going to look when the market opens. I won't be surprised if this thing decides to test some of these higher levels up here. Again, if you're in here, if you were sitting in here, because Rocket is a stock that had a lot of potential, there's a lot of profit taking as well. Yes, it's a short squeeze, but I'm sure there's people waking up this morning saying, man, I am up 30 bucks on this thing. You know, it's time to take some off. Yeah. So I would. So, all right, guys, let's take a look at what we have this morning. Let's start with KT. You're giving us DKNG. Let's take a look at that. DKNG, it is up 5% this morning, 655,000. Yeah, I think DKNG is definitely on our list, guys. Great daily as well. A couple of really good days in here. I didn't watch it yesterday, but didn't trade well yesterday. But the day before was real nice. This would have been Monday. Real nice break up here. Nice opening range breakout on the 5 minute and beautiful continuation as well. Again, just traded very well there. So I do like that one. I'm going to add it on here. DKNG, again, you can have a day like that, and then you can have the following day could be this is the actual open the following day. So this is the hit or miss we're talking about. DKNG, again, it's just both ends of the spectrums there. So this morning looking good pre-market wise, looking good on the daily, looking good on this gap up. We'll keep a close eye on this one. Heading down, we do have Dish. Let's see what's going on there. Hamish, what do you have for us? So Dish, I like the daily. I see what you're looking at. Possible breakout. Now, the volume right now is way too light for us to keep it on our list. Also, we've seen this before. It doesn't trade well as a day trading stock. For me, for the way I trade, it doesn't trade very well. No, I'm not sure if you had any success with it, but I don't really like the way.
Not in a million years would I touch that.
Yeah, this doesn't trade very well, guys. So just be mindful of that. All right, let me scroll back up. What do we have here? Okay, we have Twitter. I'm sorry, Neo. Edwin is giving us Neo. Neo this morning. Yeah, Neo, possible continuation, guys. Big drop yesterday. We're sitting at the lows now. We got to be careful here. We're sitting at the lows of a great area of support. Right, so again, don't go in here with a bias, guys. See what the setup is going to be. We have bounced from here, from this, what is this, 40, previous day close, really, 42.29 several times, and we have bounced very strongly here, right? So here we had a nice run up. Here again, yeah, we dipped below it a little bit, but for the most part, that level is going to be important for Neo here. They're going to try to defend that there. We'll keep an eye on it, though. I think it is in play. Actually, probably is one of our main list this morning. It's moving very well. 4.2 up slightly, but it looks like it wants to slam down into that previous day close line. So yeah, Neo is good this morning. Let me do this thing. Let me stop this from scrolling down. Okay, that's better. There we go. Change that setting up so I don't keep losing track of where I'm at. All right, so that is good there. Next we have Twitter. Let's take a look at Twitter this morning. All right, Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's on the move. It's down slightly. I like the fact that we're getting a lot of volume in the last couple of minutes here, so that could turn into something. Let's keep an eye on that one. Not sure if there's any news on this. A good spot on the daily. Yeah, I agree, Julian. So Twitter looks good. Let's head down to KM. Did we look at this one? KMPH? I think we did. Yeah, I think we did look at this one. So we have it down here. It is a low flow stock, guys, sitting at 11 million shares. So we have it down here. Oh, I typed it wrong. KMPH. There we go. Miles per hour is there. Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. So that's good. We'll see where that goes. Let's look at Mara this morning. How's the Bitcoin stocks doing today? These guys they're up actually 8%. So Bitcoin must be doing well. Again, just difficult to trade. We do have shares for short today, but again, probably a little bit more now. 3 million. So that's not bad. That's not bad. They're 3.1 million as far as inventory for short on Mara. Could be interesting with inventory to short on this one. Put as a possible. Definitely active, guys. Again, up 8% this morning. 1 million shares traded. We'll see what that's going to go to today. Twitter is good. We have it as a possible. CCL. Let's check some of the travel stocks. CCL at the moment. I love the daily on CCL. I mean, I don't know if it's in play per se right now. It is up 1.7, 1.3 million. But this daily though, it's been wedging nicely higher lows in here, slamming up against this 28 price level. Did go above that just a few minutes ago at 28.58. Yeah, I think it's worth keeping a close eye on CCL. I think that looks very good this morning. That daily is very nice. All right, heading on down, CCL we do have, yep, that's good. Alex, you're giving us Ovid. What is Ovid here? So Ovid, what's the float on this one? We have 24 million shares traded right now. As far as float, 38 million shares flow. So the daily's not great. Obviously, there's nothing much going on here that you can go off by. Pre-market actually had a nice pop, but again, I just not looking all that exciting right here. Just very choppy. Without a good daily, it's going to be tough to trade, guys. So I'm not going to add it on my list. I'd rather watch something else this morning, like a Rocket, like a Neo. I mean, this stuff just looks very clean this morning, so I want to keep my eyes on those. Even CCL is starting to look a little bit nice this morning. All right, PBR. Let's take a look what's happening with PBR. What did it do yesterday? I know we talked about it, but we didn't keep it on deck here. So rough start. It did break out later in the day, but man, very choppy open on Neo here. So I'm sorry, on a PBR. I'm not going to add it to my list, guys. I think we have some really great stocks up here that are doing well, that have a lot of potential this morning. All right, last one, guys. We'll do plug, then we'll check some from our YouTube friends here. Plug this morning going into the red. I think plug is interesting. It definitely is. So gapped up 2 days ago, sold off yesterday, and then today we're slamming down into the red again. We got some pretty good levels down here. This thing overall has been in a nice downtrend. Well, not as clean on the daily, but I like plug, and plug could move, so you got to be careful with plug as well. But yeah, I do like this one, down 6%, and we're getting some good volume right now too. So I like what's happening there. All right, let's take a look over on our YouTube chat. What do we have, guys? Let's start with James. James is giving us Neo. We have that one good. Luis is giving us XL. What do we have on XL, Luis? What's going on here? 627. They're up 6.1. Their daily looks interesting, but I'm not liking this pre-market action at the moment. So hopefully that can get better. But right now that doesn't look too good. And their daily is a little funky. I think we have looked at this one before in the past. And I can't recall. Yeah, we have levels here, so we definitely did. Probably on this gap up day here, who knows? But yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing at the moment on that one. Ride. Let's take a look at Ride. Ride's pre-market action is pretty much dead right now, guys. It's not riding anywhere. Only 34,000 shares traded, so we'll skip on that one. DKNG we do have. Let's take a look at Lyft and Uber. Lyft's daily. This is nice. This is very, very nice. Their daily looks very good here, guys, for a possible breakout. We're gapping up 3.4. Volume is just starting to come in here. They're just cracking 113,000, so that's good. And what's going on with Uber? Doing the same thing. They look okay, but their daily is not as great as Lyft. Lyft has a nice daily. If they can break out of here, they can break out of here with volume 61.91. Obviously, another level we have up here going back to quite some time. Yeah, Lyft could be a good possible. Might not stay there though. It's gotta. I only like that one if it can push up towards the upside and break out of this this area of consolidation that it's been in. Right, that's what we want to see. We did that right here, but we've done it with no volume, so that's not fun. We need the volume to be able to do that and break out. That could be a good break of high of the day for today if we get the action going. All right, thank you for that one, VRM. Let's take a look here. VRM, no volume there, guys. We want to see some volume here in your pick, so definitely, or an amazing daily or a catalyst, right? You got to have at least something that can make it a good one here. FSLY, I do like the daily, guys. The opposite of Lyft, right? Consolidating here, and at the bottom of this consolidation, hopefully looking to lose it and go for a nice run. So yeah, that's interesting, and we do have some levels down here we can get to. Now FSLY, guys, very, very risky stock. We traded this one before in the past. It can be very choppy. Right now the spread is 20 cents. If you guys remember when this was madness over here, we're watching this almost every day, but every day was not a lot of those days were tradable, so be very mindful of that. That could have changed. Let's take a look at it for a second time here. All right, guys, we'll stop here. Let's take a look at our announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list.
All right, guys. So Thor's part up. Thor's pivot point part 2 webinar. Your slides are messed up here, man.
Yeah, let me get you back.
Yeah, they're just going crazy. Sorry. One more.
Yeah,
backward.
it's like they're on auto or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's. That's the worst presentation I've ever given. Thor's pivot point part 2 webinar was last night. Should be up in the Education Center soon. Next week, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, you've got Mike talking about Tradebook, why it's so important to build one and have one as you grow as a trader. Then psychology next Wednesday, you will have, once again, wrong slide here. You're going to have Dr. Kenneth Reed, his Kill Zone Mastermind Pro course, talking about Fibonacci and using them in your trading. And then that's tonight, 8 p.m. Next Wednesday, 5 p.m. special time, you're going to have Creda talking about overcoming adrenaline and analysis paralysis as well. So special time, she's in Europe. Just keep that in mind for when you tune into that. DFW meetup tonight, 6 p.m. I'll see everybody there. Hard 8 Barbecue, Coppell, don't go to the wrong place. It is at 688 Freeport Parkway by DFW Airport. Don't go to the wrong one. Please RSVP if you haven't. In the forums, you can, if you're on YouTube, you don't have to be a member. You can sign up for a free forum membership and RSVP. Look forward to having everybody. Somebody DM'd me yesterday and asked if it's kosher to bring a book to have it autographed by Andrew, and of course, 100% go for it. Bring it. Happens all the time. Sorry, I'm minding a position in Rocket here as well at the same time, so I'm a little. As it's taking off, I'm a little bit slow on the read. Member trade of the day, trade of the week. If you want to take part in that, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, mark it up with of course, it should have entries and exits, and then mark it up with any kind of commentary you can add. Post it on Twitter. Tag at Bearable Traders, at Mike_B_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll announce the winner each day in the closing bell showing on Twitter, and then the team votes on all the trades of the day over the weekend for the trade of the week. That's announced Monday on closing bell showing on Twitter as well. All right. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't been in the room, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll get you a discount on the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days. Doesn't auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Also gives you access to the Monday night classes, which are the onboarding class that Carlos and Mike do, and the new technology class by Kyle.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our list this morning, starting with OCGN. So let's start there. So OCGN right now, we are up 27%. Pre-market looks good. Yeah, I think we'll keep this one on here, guys. Very, very active. Let's see if this can give us a good opportunity and get running today. We have some levels towards the top here that look pretty exciting. CAN is next. This one also very active. I like what's happening here. Let's keep that going. Their daily's good too, guys. We're breaking out of the recent most highest area of resistance right here, 25.82. So we just went above that slightly here, so that's good. Let's see if that can create some momentum, or if we're going to slide back down here. So again, I think that was looking very nice this morning, very active. SSYS, I do like the drop here. I like the fact that we lost this level of support, so I'm going to keep that one here. RKT is a must, guys, looking very well this morning, very active. Here's Fubo. Fubo is okay. It's okay. I mean, we're slamming back down to this area of consolidation, hoping that we can get a nice run towards the bottom. That'd be great. We have some movement, some momentum towards down here. We know exactly where we can get some area of support for a possible bounce, right? So we'll see, but it's okay compared to everything else. Neo, I think, is good, guys, if we can get going here. Again, sitting at a great level of support, so that's nice. And then I think Plug is also good. So I think we'll do levels for all of these up here. Let's scroll down to the bottom, see if we find anything that is looking better now in our watch list. UWMC. What's the float on this one again? UWMC. This is a 90 million shares flow. So again, just consolidating right now. This could turn pretty good though. We'll keep a close eye on that one. DKNG. I think DKNG is looking great, guys. I think DKNG might be setting up for a day where it's going to trade well, like it did the day before. So I am going to move something out of the way here. We'll move that one up. I think that one deserves to be on our main list. Here is Neo. Neo is on our main list already, so let's get rid of it here. Twitter, Twitter is a good possible, guys, but we need a whole lot of volume, so I'm going to remove it right now. I think we have some secondaries that look great. Mara is good, guys. We do have again, we have a nice bounce of this 32, 40, 34 as well as down here. So they're daily. If we can get a nice run here, we do have some levels here. Obviously, it all depends on Bitcoin. Mara, I think they even changed their name. They were Marathon. Now they're something else. It's not Marathon no more. They're or Digital Holdings. Maybe this is the new name. I don't remember, but they changed their name to kind of focus on the Bitcoin stuff. So this looking good right now. Let's see if they can get going. CCL. I love the daily. We'll keep it right on there. LIF is interesting if we can get going, so we'll keep it right on here. And FSLY also could be great, guys, for a possible breakout. So some pretty good possibles here. Let's move some more stuff down. So OCGN we have here. CAN is good. SSYS. I know I like this drop here, but you know what? It's not better than DKNG. I don't think it is. We'll move this down. Yep, there we go. So RKT is good. Fubo is looking very nice this morning. Again, I'm on the fence on this one, but we'll see. Neo, Plug, and DKNG. All right, I think we have a good list. I think I still have one too many, but for the most part, this is not a bad start. OCGN, let's do some levels here. High of the pre-market, sitting at 1406 at the moment. Towards the bottom, we do have an area here that I think is worth marking down. If you look at this date here around 1191, you do have a couple of days hitting that 1191 there. The pre-market, you touched it a couple of times a bit here, so I think it's worth having there. Then below that, guys, the highs and lows from the last two trading days, Monday and Tuesday, are covering you here. You got the previous day close, which has been an amazing area of support. If you look back here, going back to February 8th, you can see all the support you're getting here. Yes, we did dip lower for about 4 days here, but right back to this level, above this level one more time. So that's looking pretty good there. Slightly above that, you do have this resistance area here at 1458, and then above that you have the opening, the closing of this day here at 1579, and all the way up here at 1873. So you might be asking, why are we doing the close of this day here? And the reason is because this is so far out. If your wick was over here, maybe you do the wick, but this is so far out, you'll be surprised if they at this previous day close, there might be some kind of action happening there at that 1579. So you want to mark that down, especially when you have something so far away like this. You want to have both levels in your charts, right? So that's pretty much taking care of you there for OCGN. Let's see, this thing looks like it wants to go back up and test a pre-market high, looking very good right now. All right, here we have CAN. We have 25.82. Pre-market high sitting at 26.73. Again, their daily looks good. We know this stock can be very, very explosive. So we'll see what happens here. As far as levels towards the bottom, you're pretty much covered, guys. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You got your previous day close on here as well. That's all looking very good. We're coming off a 2-day bounce of this 17, which has been a great area of support for this stock. And then below that, you also have a good support area right here around 15.31 as well. So that's looking pretty good there. Now here's RKT, guys, the monster for today's thing is just incredible. Don't be fooled by it being down 11.5 as being a weak stock. This stock is very, very strong, so just be careful. It has been very strong the last couple of days. So low of the pre-market right now, 15.93. High of the pre-market all the way up here at 48.64, so we'll mark that there. And then in between, you have the highs and lows, the previous day close. That's taking care of you there. And do we have a most recent high? Do we have anything in between here? Yeah, we do. September, we do have a date right over here, 34.42. We have another one here at 30.65. And then in between here gets a little bit funky. Let's zoom in and see what do we have going on. Yeah, and this is not going to be a great level like these two over here. This will be, you know, don't put a lot of weight on this one. 29.09. You got a couple of days hitting on that one, but again, you don't have a change in direction or something like that, like you would on any other levels. But that's still a good one to have there. 29.04, and then below that, obviously, the previous day close not the previous day close. Excuse me, the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. All right, that's good. Again, Rocket, great volume, guys. 8.7 right now. Finding a little bit of a base here, down 10%. Fubo this morning, they're slamming down against this area of consolidation, so that could be interesting. You have your low from 2 days ago right over here already at 36.26, which we've seen some support happening there, and then the next level below that is the next clean level is 33.64, right? So right now you're sitting on the highs of 2 days ago right on there, which is the top of this consolidation. Let's see what happens there. The only level I will add here is the pre-market high. Really, I don't think you need to do anything else. Don't complicate your charts, guys. 40.67. Then above that, highs and lows from yesterday and the previous day close. So again, you got plenty of clean levels on here. Let's leave that the way it is. This is so for now. I might move this one down if we find something better. Here's Neo. Putting in a little bit of a bounce here at 43.35, low of the pre-market. Below that, we do have again this amazing level we're talking about, the support. This previous day close line is right on here, and then below that, 41.81. So Neo on an overall downtrend, a couple of days here popping up. Is it going to find support here again like it has in the past, right? So we'll wait to see that, and hopefully that whatever it does here, it trades clean and we can take advantage of it one way or the other. The great thing about Neo, you can get in quickly, and their spread for the most part is always very good. They always have a very good spread for the way they're moving. So that's always good. When they are in play, it can be very nice. Heading on down, we have Plug. Now Plug this morning, they are pretty much flat. You know what? No, this doesn't look good. I kept it here because it was running down, and yes, it has some potentials to get going, and we do have some levels down here. 45. We do have 37, but I think a lot has to happen for this to be really on our main list. So we'll move it down. We'll move it down for now. But we'll keep a close eye on it because, again, we know Plug can be so clean at times. Here's DKNG looking good right now in the pre-market. Can this continue into the market open? If you do trade pre-market, you have had some good opportunities already in here, so hopefully take advantage of that. Look at this 9 moving average, a couple of nice bounces off of that. A beautiful continuation of two really strong days, actually 3 really strong days here. This is not so much, but it did push up. It's hard to do this when you have a big jump up day like this, right? We're looking for a rocket to do that hopefully today as well. 73.82, high of the pre-market towards the bottom, guys. Plenty of levels, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, and I believe we are at all-time highs. So again, that makes it even more difficult to do this, but again, they're doing it right now, so they're looking pretty good at the moment. Up 5.8, 870,000 shares traded. So I do like the way DKG is setting up. So again, pretty good list so far right now. Let's take a look at what our moderators are watching on their end. Let's bring up their list. All right, let's get the visuals going on over here. We'll bring it over to the side, and okay, what do we have here? So we are looking at a Thor. He's watching Neo, PLTR, CCL, Intraday Watch, Plug, SQ, and Zoom. Peter, only SPAC today IPO is OSCR. Only non-SPAC IPO today is OSCR. So we got a couple of SPACs opening up today. Here is John. He's looking at his top break of high of day watch list is going to be Zoom, FU2U, and Roku on his list. Mike is looking at BA and SQ. Jared is looking at the EV sector, LI, XPEF, NEO as well. Secondary list, APHA, and also CGC as well. So again, got a couple of stuff going on there. And again, if you're tuning in now, reminder that Jared is opening up at 8 a.m. in the morning with his market take. So definitely tune in for that and don't miss out on the stuff that's happening there. A lot of good insight. I'm telling you guys, you're going to learn a lot. Jared knows his stuff. Dima, she's watching OCGN, PLTR, SPCE, and CAN. And Tiffany, she has NEO, DKNG, and secondary list RKT and also OCGN. So pretty good list there. Here's Peter coming in with his list: RKT, DKNG, of course AMD, NEO, secondary list OCGN, and KPMH. Is PMH or MPH? I think it's MPH, unless that's a different one. But again, those are looking pretty good there as well. So nice list. Everybody is looking good this morning. All right, guys, we have a pretty decent list. Peter sent it again, correction. So it is KMPH that he's watching on his list. All right, guys, so that is our list for today. Let's quick look and recap of our secondary list. We have plug. I moved it down because I think the daily's a little funky down here. Might be choppy today. SYSS, we moved this down, no, but it's not SYSS, it's SSYS. That is the correct ticker there. So I do like this drop here. I like that we lost 32. We'll see what happens there. UWMC definitely getting a nice little pop here this morning. This could be interesting. Mara right now dropping down, but they're still up. Bitcoin is up, so that's good. CCL is okay. I love the daily, guys, as we mentioned earlier. Possible wedge here, possible breakout, but it needs to get a lot going before we can be real nice. Same thing with Lyft. Lyft doesn't have a lot going on by this daily. By the way, let's remove some of these levels here. There we go. This daily here, right, we're at the area of resistance around here is around 59.72. If we can get going above that, that can turn out real nice this morning. FSLY also good towards the bottom as well. Again, just pre-market not looking all that exciting, but the daily does look really good on FSLY. All right, guys, that is what we have so far this morning. We do have a couple of minutes, so anything else you guys like that we might have not touched on yet? Let's take a quick look at anything here. So I saw people throwing out William, you're throwing out RAAS. Let's see what's going on there. Up 4.3, 81,000 shares traded. So pre-market not so great right now, and we've seen this one before. Recent IPO, it's not great though. It doesn't intraday very well, so just be cautious on that one. UWMC, we do have it on here again, breaking out nicely, guys, after a good day yesterday, so possible continuation. We'll see how that is going to play out there. Looking really good right now. 10 million, up 33%. KMPH, we do have that one, so that's good. If it's already on here, we have it on deck, but we can take a look at it here. KMPH, this one up 73%. We'll see. It has potential to break out here, guys, and test some of these highs. No shares for short here with IB at the moment. It is on short selling restriction. We'll see how that turns out. NCTY, guys, I really do not like. Again, this is a lower flow stock, and here's the reason why. I'll explain. First of all, you don't get great volume. And any stock that's sitting at, I think this is what, 5 million, whereas NC, yeah, 5.3 million. Any stock with that type of flow that's not getting volume, you're going to get this really wide spread. And when you have a spread like that on something that's a low flow stock, you can move a lot with a big spread. That could be very, very, very bad for you, especially even on a regular pullback. So let's say you take this short here, right? Let's say you're getting short here and it all looks good, you have a good entry. You can get a pullback that can put you way past your stop loss just because of the spread. Right, so that's the issue with managing your risk on these spready stocks. A little bit more difficult. Now, that does not mean you cannot trade it, right? Depending on your trading style, if you want to trade something like this, you can. You just got to account for these other things, right? You got to account for the spread, you got to account for slippage, and you got to account for low volume. So you got to look at other indicators that by now you're not guessing this while you're trading live. You obviously have your trade book set up, which we teach you how to do, right? In our classes, you have your trade book set up and you know what you're looking for. But if you don't have that set up and you want to try a regular strategy on a stock that looks like this, it's going to be difficult. You might be in for a rude awakening or something like that. So just be careful when you see such a spread like this, 30 cents now. You see low volume, and you're looking at 5.3 million shares, and it tends to happen even worse at stocks that are higher price. Just be mindful of that. PBR, I think we had PBR, but I didn't keep it. We looked at it. PBR this morning, yeah, it's just running here, guys. It definitely is running. I just think we have better stocks today, and this could be choppy at times, so I'm going to keep it off. It also doesn't move a whole lot, which is good. It's a lower price stock. You're not going to get a 50 cents, an 80 cents drop on this, but yeah, I don't like it. I think the stuff that we have here is looking slightly better, but if you do like this one, maybe it's a possible you could throw on your list there. So all right, guys, thank you so much, 9:15, for joining the pre-market show over on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Norm and I truly appreciate it. We are going to continue in the chat room with Brian and Thor. And then also do not forget the meetup. The meetup is tonight, correct? Today at a location. I think we posted it on there, Norm?
Yep, tonight, 6 p.m. at Hard 8 Barbecue in Coppell. Freeport Parkway is the street it's on.
Absolutely,
there's multiple
guys.
Locations, so don't go to the wrong one. See you tonight.
See you tonight, guys. Make sure you RSVP to that, and have a good one, and we'll see you later in the day. Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.